everyone. Good afternoon. Thanks for that lovely introduction. I'm going to give the team here a minute to bring the presentation up. But in the meantime, I hope all of you are tweeting. Please tweet your questions, your comments, and anything that you're thinking and feeling today, and really make our platform come alive. Let's wait for the ET team to bring the presentation up. And I'm really looking forward to unfolding the power of conversations on Twitter today afternoon with all of you. Let me know when we are ready. Thank you. Am I audible at the back? Does it sound okay? Thank you. Let's test. Is it working? All right. Good afternoon once again. It's my true pleasure and honor to talk you through how conversations are unfolding on Twitter. Twitter is really what's happening and what people are talking about. It is the true barometer of our nation. If you want to know how Indian citizens are feeling on any particular day, at a given point in time, all you need to do is log on to Twitter and really, really, truly get the pulse of your nation right in your hands, in your own hands, on your mobile phone. That is what Twitter is all about. The power of conversations and being the pulse of this very country. Moving on, the number one reason why people come on Twitter is to talk about their interests, share their interests, and really see what's happening, and also participate in these conversations. When they find something of their interest, they just don't sit back. They actually talk about it, they retweet, they take action. And that's what makes the Twitter audience so valuable and unique. They're not just thumbing up and down any particular timeline, but they are really reading into it and acting upon it. And here are just some fun examples. These are people talking about their love for Disney. There are people talking about how they've tried boba and they're unable to get over it, and how addicted they are to boba. So whether it is crypto, whether it is entertainment, whether it's food, music, fashion, people are coming on Twitter and really sharing their interests and taking those conversations to the next level altogether. If we take a step back, Twitter's true purpose really is to serve the public conversation. We are, as Tweeps, so proud to work for a company that really is the global town square. We are giving opportunity to all of you and billions of consumers around the world to come and share their thoughts in a free manner. And we are able to do that because Twitter as a platform has the power to really connect people and accelerate that connection. Here is a fabulous example about how someone who loves crypto is part of the crypto community on Twitter because he wants to engage with like-minded people, and he may not find them at home or within his friends and family. We're also a platform that helps information go viral. We're a platform that helps to accelerate information. Whether you want to find something new, whether you want to figure out a recommendation or share a recommendation, Twitter's the place to be. Not to mention the fact, and I'm sure all of you have heard it very often, is how content on Twitter has the ability and the power to go viral. So much so that when the content on Twitter goes viral, publications and media houses actually pick up what people on Twitter are saying and turns that into news headline. That is so unique to Twitter and does not happen anywhere else. Not only do we help to bring people together and really create that connection and accelerate information, we also are all about sparking creativity. When you come on Twitter and you share a piece of art or you share your work, the kind of motivation and encouragement you get can help you take your own creativity and art to the next level. Which is why you say, if you think it and you dream it, tweet it, and your dreams could be tweeted into existence at some day in time. Moving on, just superimpose and align all of this, the fact that we are today a conversational platform, with the fact that the Twitter audience is so active and leaned in. When they're looking at the content, their mind is alert and active, which means as brands, you can be assured that the content that you're putting on Twitter is being received with an active mindset And it's not just going somewhere down the line and not registering in the minds of your consumer. As marketers, we all know the power of recall and memorability. And that is what Twitter is able to deliver through our active and leaned-in audiences. This audience comes alive on the platform. It's open, it's curious, and it's very influential. Let's talk about some metrics which support that. Why do we say that Twitter audience is so valuable? Look at the numbers on your screen. 83% of Twitter people would describe themselves as opinion leaders. They are trendsetters. They are not followers, which is why this audience is so influential. Twitter audience really drives results. 40% higher ROI comes through on Twitter when you're running your brand campaigns. And not just that, even in terms of affluent, the more affluent consumers are actually found on Twitter. Yes, I think the team here might want to do it. I can help you. Sure. Oh, you just want to shift them to the center, is it?
Yeah, because we cannot see your slides.
Thanks. That's very kind of you. Is it better now? Thank you. So like we said, conversation starts with people on Twitter. It's an influential, leaned-in audience that drives results and impact both. So what we have done at Twitter is now we have empowered this very leaned-in audience with better tools, with our latest innovations, to help them engage even more in the public conversation. Here are a few examples that we'd love to share with you. The first one is how Twitter is so regional in nature. I'm sure many of you don't know the fact that nearly 50% of the tweets on the platform are actually non-English in nature. And 90% of Indian users actually prefer to consume content in their own languages, which is why today Twitter has 11 regional Indian languages on the platform for our consumers to use. Not only is regional rising, we're also killing it in the space of audio. Twitter Spaces is a unique product that helps communities come together using the power of voice. On Twitter Spaces, you can host a session on topics of your interest and get like-minded people to join in very quickly. For example, the space that we did on International Women's Day with Sapna from Google and many other influential industry leaders was a huge success, where we spoke about breaking the bias and breaking the stereotypes. We recently did something on Spotify with RJ Balaji's space, where again, a huge number of people tuned in, and audio became a very powerful format for storytelling even on Twitter. Not just on audio, even on video, there are tremendous opportunities unfolding on Twitter, be it in the form of vertical ads, be it in the form of live events, or various other formats. But what's most important that we'd love to share with you today is how there has been a very strong Y-on-Y increase in tweet engagements, in video consumption on the platform, and how nearly 70% of all sessions on Twitter today are actually video-oriented. 62% of our consumers today say that Twitter is one of their main sources for video consumption. I mean, that is a mind-blowing number for us to go home with. If we go a little deeper, we'll see that current affairs is the #1 topic on Twitter, followed by celebrities, finance, education, and sports. So there are a variety of categories on Twitter that come alive when we talk of even video content. Moving on. TV and Twitter, if we take a step forward from there, are actually a beautiful match made in heaven. So consumers have actually said, and almost 93%, which is a huge number, that their usage of Twitter actually increases when they're watching an entertaining show online, when they're streaming content, or when they're watching live sport. That's the power of Twitter, because today you don't just have to engage with the person sitting next to you on your couch when you're consuming content, but you can actually tweet what you're thinking and find people who agree or disagree with your point of view on the platform and really amplify your thoughts. And therefore, when you plan your TV campaigns, think about how beautifully you can amplify them just by including Twitter in the mix. Moving on, 64% of people on Twitter also say that they enjoy watching video ads related to brands. And as an ex-marketer, I can say this with confidence that this is pure gold, pure gold. Imagine having an audience that actually enjoys your advertising and your brand-led content and does not consider advertising to be a nuisance. We just had a panelist who said that those unskippable ads are so irritating. Not the case on Twitter, where people are enjoying video content being put forward by brand, and as high as 64%. That's the power of video on Twitter and also audio. We also have topics today for people to engage. We have tips, which is a new way to give money and receive money on the platform. And we also have today tools to convert all of these conversations into commerce. Very soon, we would be launching the Twitter shopping experience, which will be visual, which will be delightful, and it will give merchants a way to tell immersive stories in the video platform and eventually lead to commercial wins. So, in a nutshell, what we are trying to do is to share how we have a powerful leaned-in audience, how we have tools that enable this audience to go to the next level, and how we have new things coming up, be it topics, tips, or even commerce to help you aid in creating commercial wins. Which brings us neatly to the next topic, which is how brands such as yours can really tap into this conversation, can really tap into the power of the platform and this leaned-in audience, and really go to the next level when it comes to meeting their marketing KPIs. So we just want to spend the next few minutes talking to you about how brands can really leverage the power of conversations. First of all, conversations are superpowers for brands. The important thing to remember here is that conversations drive results across the funnel. We are not just talking about the upper half of the funnel. That's a myth. Let's bust it right now. What we are saying is that conversations actually make your media work harder. It helps you deliver so much better on your ROI, and the results are there for you to see across the full marketing funnel. Again, something so important that was emphasized in the previous panel as well. And Twitter's solution actually are full funnel in nature that make your campaigns very effective on the back of conversations and a leaned-in audience. So if you look at the slide here, you will see how you can use Twitter to drive awareness, to drive interest, to drive consideration, to drive intent, and to drive action. It all depends on what is the buying objective you place on Twitter through your media plan, and how do you then align your creative and innovation strategy for maximum result and impact. Here is another visual representation that shows you how Twitter has full funnel solutions to grow your business and to create true impact. Whether it is taking over the full of Twitter for 24 hours through our Spotlight and First View, or whether it is using Twitter Amplify, which means aligning your content with the best premium publishers in the country, or whether it is live, or whether it's carousel, or anything, you have an objective, and Twitter can step back and provide a full funnel solution to meet that very objective. Coming back to how this ties into conversations now, ultimately, conversational platforms are driving brand conversations, which is creating a lift in sales. So if you look at the slide, this says, percentage of people who rate each platform good or great for talking about a brand's advertising in such a critical parameter, Twitter is #1. And that's the uniqueness of the platform we are so proud of and are thrilled to share with you today. Let's deep dive into this a little bit more. What is the value of public conversation for brands? Did you know that conversation on Twitter can drive credible and tangible business impact? Almost a 3% increase in sales can be a direct result of a 10% increase in conversations alone. The question to ask yourselves is that if you launched and no one talked about it, no one conversed about it, did you really launch? Just having an ad on the front page of a daily doesn't mean that your consumers are talking about it. Or just having a radio jingle play does not imply that your consumers are talking about it. But when you're on Twitter, people are talking about what you're doing. And that, as you can see, is finally driving sales. It's driving metrics, which is so important to a marketer today. On top of that, Twitter is also the most efficient driver of brand conversations. There's actually a 3x difference. We are 3x more efficient when it comes to driving brand-led conversations and therefore creating a difference. So the message that we want to leave you all today with is you can tap into the power of these conversations and communities and grow your business and prove to your CEO that you are having a direct impact on sales and brand salience. And this is such an amazing stat. It's one of my personal favorites that shows that how brands are such an active and amazing part of the Twitter community. 7 in 10 people actually enjoy seeing brands on Twitter, which is fabulous because once again, they're not viewing branded content as an irritant, but something that they're finding delight and engagement in. Pure gold. Which is why this kind of conversation is driving purchase. 76% of the people who were surveyed have said that they have brought a product home because they saw a conversation on Twitter. That is how impactful the platform and the conversation can be. And this, to my mind, is truly mind-blowing. And we are so thrilled to be able to share this with you today. The truth is that the conversation doesn't just take place at the beginning or the end of the purchase cycle, but pretty much continues throughout the purchase cycle. Be it when you're researching something, when you are considering something, when you intend to buy something, particularly when you're reviewing or recommending, or when you're trying to purchase, or when you are trying to maybe just build anticipation. Across all the stages, Twitter conversations are playing a role. Not to mention the fact that it's not just brand-driven, but also consumer-generated conversations, and they are both in equal measure. 85%, as you can see, consumer started, and 89% brand started, which means that there is an amazing amalgamation of conversations that brands do and consumers do, and they come across on the platform alive in a very healthy manner. Which is why today, when brands engage even with each other, consumers join that conversation, and tomorrow it becomes a big PR story. Again, so unique to Twitter. Moving on. All of this put together essentially means that Twitter drives results. We just spoke to you about how Twitter has a direct impact on sales and purchase. And this will show you how, even in terms of media ROI, something that we are so cognizant of, Twitter is delivering better than others. This is an amazing study which shows that Twitter delivers 16% higher ROI than Newstar's total media average that puts together TV, print, other forms of digital, search, etc. But despite that, Twitter ROI is 16% higher. So not only is there impact on purchase, there's also tremendous impact on media and ROI when you work with Twitter. Here are a few examples that will help, maybe just bring all of this to life in a way that many of you can relate to very closely. Across categories, and I'm starting with smartphones, this is a great example where Vivo launched their X80 on Twitter through a very innovative photo walk campaign where one after the other, stunning visuals were presented to the consumer, and the result was breakthrough engagement, much, much higher than any industry benchmark, and a delighted partner at the end of the campaign. Moving on, the work that we do in media and entertainment as a category is absolutely stunning. This is just one example where for Disney Plus, for the action thriller called Moran, the star was leveraged in a beautiful way, right from innovations to Twitter takeover, and the entire experience was brought to life on the platform. Not just Disney Plus Hotstar, but also the work we do for Netflix in terms of gamification, the work we do for Amazon Prime in terms of regional content is absolutely stunning, because all of these players really dive deep into the power of the conversations, and they celebrate that fandom on Twitter to make their show launches larger than life. The team that does this is sitting right here, and I want to give a huge shout out to Neha, Junaid, Ishan, who one after the other pull out stunning work on media and entertainment as a category. Moving on, even in tech B2B, brands like Microsoft engage with Twitter to amplify very, very important topics like data security, artificial intelligence, and others. And they do this through our partnership with premium publishers, making sure that the panels that are done via Twitter are very high on quality in terms of production, in terms of content, and also in terms of delivery. Moving on to the social impact and auto category, Mahindra Rise does amazing work on Twitter where they are creating awareness around girl-child education through very evocative storytelling. Their Nanni Kali campaign has been one of the strongest campaigns on Twitter. Their chairman, I'm sure you know how much Anand Mahindra tweets, and this campaign is a true testimony of how even down for every single brand, there is so much work that is done to leverage the platform in the right way. And once again, the team that does this is sitting right there. Sunny, why don't you just give a wave to everyone in the crowd? Moving on to financial sector as a category, SBI, which is considered more of a traditional brand, actually does the most innovative work on Twitter. They tap into connect moments like Holi or Diwali or International Day of Yoga to present amazing content back to consumers, which is created specifically for the platform. And we spoke about hyper-localization and personalization. This is such a great example because the moment you give a simple heart on the tweet that you're seeing there, you actually get a personalized message back to you saying, hey, Mandeep, this is your holy postcard. Why don't you enjoy it today with your family? That's the kind of personalization that even Twitter can deliver for you today. Moving on to our last category, which is e-commerce. Flipkart has been doing a lot on the platform by using branded emojis. Who could have thought that a promotion around discounts can actually be positioned in a very cool way to consumers by the use of emojis? So consumers simply had to choose an emoji of their choice, and based on the choice of their emoji, they would get a certain promotion or a discount pushed back to them, again, in a personalized fashion. So if you just put the whole thing together, this audience that is leaned in is tapped into through a variety of brands across a multitude of categories using innovations such as these. Moving on, in conclusion, the message that we as a Twitter team would love to leave you all with is that conversations are truly powerful. Leverage them for your brand, leverage our influential audience to drive results. And most importantly, think about how conversations can really drive purpose. Twitter is a platform where purpose takes the front seat. We have an audience that really and truly cares. It's a platform where movements are born, and I'm sure you've participated in some movement or the other, or witnessed it unfold on the platform at some point in time. Tomorrow, as a brand, you can start that movement on the platform and make it really big. Here are some brands that are already leading the way, whether it's Nat Geo India, or whether it is OnePlus for their Oxygen OS campaign that ultimately resulted in 27,000 trees being planted, more than the trees that are there in Central Park in New York. That's the kind of impact that the campaign had. And very recently, what Mahindra did with us also led to the planting of 5,000 trees in a very short period of time. So when you have a beautiful audience that engages with you, that really cares, you can actually use them also to do something purposeful, meaningful, and really create that advocacy and loyalty with your consumer in an age where everything is so cluttered, and really stand out. On that note, thank you very much for listening, and we are here to answer any questions, or you can tweet, of course, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you very much.